Hello, friends. This is Sam Cheney reporting for Weaponized News. Today's July 11th, 2025. Thank you for joining us on this Friday edition of Weaponized News. Wow, it's been a long week for the MAGA clownfluencers, hasn't it now? Well, I want to see our country do well as well. You know what I mean? But it's just not happening. It's not happening. And you can't sign off on genocide and expect to be having providence from God, for example. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It doesn't matter how many lies these bastards tell us. It's just not going to happen. It's against natural law in the universe. And that's exactly what this government's done. And same as the last administration, sign off on government. You got Genocide Joe, you got Genocide Dawn. And so turns out, I posted that on the X, turns out this government's pure evil. We told you. And so now more MAGA, more quote conservatives, Republicans are coming to this realization. Not enough, not fast enough. They still want to make excuses. They want to, a lot of them, I mean, it's transparent now. There's no question. If you're apologizing for Trump at this point, then you're a shill hack, a clownfluencer, a grifter, a piece of trash. And so you're getting very close to being complicit in the genocide as well here now. You want that on your soul? I guess these people don't have souls. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm from the real world and not this clownfluence world. So I don't know. Anyway, screw them. They deserve whatever they get. Donald Trump's a piece of shit. He's going to burn in hell along with the rest of the government. And I don't know about the clownfluencers out there. They're along for the ride, I guess. All right, what do we got in the news today? Quite a bit on this Friday. Bohemian Grove is going to kick off. That's going to kick off up near the Bay Area here in California. And so that's always nice that they do their, dark occultic satanic rituals. They're the power elite. What else do we got today? More Epstein. Trump says, stop talking about it. We're going to keep talking about it, of course. The White House. What do you even say? I think Ruckus was right. It's Barron Trump, and I added his college fraternity running the White House X account. This is a thumbnail. They put this out yesterday. They know they're getting all this heat pushback from Epstein, from the never-ending wars as well, for their support for aardvarks, their undying support for aardvark land. And so they put this out. And so they're literally mocking us, mocking the American people, laughing in our face. A Trump presidency, truth, justice, and the American way. Superman. Superman should probably, go after him for copyright or something. I don't know. But this buffoonish meme, the symbol of hope, truth, justice, the American way, Superman Trump. Really? Superman a genocide? If that's your Superman. It's just beyond the pale of disgusting. What do we got? Palace intrigue, as they say. Allegedly, these clowns, Cash Patel and Dan Bongino, are upset about this whole episode. And so they're allegedly threatening to resign. They should arrest themselves and go turn yourself into jail. But they're not going to do that. Well, they say this report, who is this? This is some reporter, White House reporter, Real Daily Wire, White House correspondent Mary Margaret Olahan. She says that her sources close to the DOJ say Kash Patel also wants Pam Bondi gone, as well as Dan Bongino, allegedly. I don't believe anything these people say, man, at this point. So they're all in it together, still playing games, running psyops, running propaganda and lies against the American people. It's what it is, man. And so let's continue to call them out. What else do we got today? Trump visits Texas. He don't care about anybody. Trump visits the flood victims there in Texas. We got video from this ICE raid on a marijuana facility in Southern California. And it looks like one of these illegals, or I don't even know if he was illegal, one of these hardcore gangsters took some shots at ICE. And so that's pretty hardcore. They're getting hardcore here now. We got a lot of video of that, throwing rocks at the government. It's bold, man. They're getting bold here. So we got a lot of video of that to go over. I guess it happened yesterday, but late breaking, so we missed it here at Weaponized News, but we'll cover it today. We got, what else do we got? We got some good news to report here. Everybody, we need good news, right? For you internet researchers out there like myself and others, I'm sure our show, well, I know in the comments we have plenty of researchers. A great resource has come back online. Our friend Peter Duke at the Duke Report has got, he's building his database back up after the oligarchs burned his house down, as he says. They burned down his whole freaking city, basically, Pacific Palisades. Horrific tragedy. And he lost his website in that tragedy. But he's putting it back up there with all his books to start with. A treasure trove of information, all consolidated in one place here now, proving the one world government global conspiracy, the history of it, and on it goes. A trove of research. We'll go through that, at least the links to it, so you guys can do your own research, as is our theme here at Weaponized News. We got public health news, as mentioned yesterday. Report from the old what are they? Organic Consumers Association, breaking down how this new formula of Roundup contains Diquat, which is 200 times more toxic than glyphosate. Quite horrific. We'll go over that. Some other public health news. Trump has he calls the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War, and so that's signaling the president of peace here now, right? China's rolling out propaganda, military war propaganda. Not good, man. Not good. So Russia allegedly attacked a hospital, maternity ward. Ukraine, I'm seeing reports, is they're attacking civilian infrastructure as well there in Russia. And so it's ugly there, man. It's ugly, and it needs to stop. But don't look like Putin, the most evil man in the world, and Russia give two craps about what Trump has to say about it at this point. So negotiations for a peace deal are not looking good at this point. With all of that, well, those reports. What else do we got? The genocide continues. They're saying the quiet part out loud here now, and they're just admitting it. And so open war crimes, crimes against humanity, genocide, ethnic cleansing in the world's face. and they literally don't care. They say here now, well, they leveled Rafah, right? And that's where they're going to herd all these people in. And if you don't go along with the program, you will be eliminated, and you're being herded in there to be eliminated. So it's like there's not much they can do. That is the Palestinians at this point to not be, quote, eliminated. It's the crime of our time, man. It's quite horrific. So we'll go over all that, all of the latest from Aardvark genocide, and then we will revisit Ola Francesca. Now I can't even remember her name. Isn't it on here? Albanese. Her report, will revisit that forever occupation, genocide, and profit. And interestingly enough, she mentioned Palantir in that document 13 times. But when I ran the summary analysis over there on the Gronk and told it specifically, pull out all of these corporations she's naming, it didn't pull out Palantir. Interestingly enough, covering for the technocracy there, Gronk. Not surprising, really, but we're going to go back into that document, and we'll have to do it by hand, manually, as they say, human intervention here to go ahead and call Palantir out, because Gronk didn't give us that data, that summary yesterday. And there was a lot to get to, right? So I had to blast through as much information as I possibly could. But we're going to revisit and just focus on Palantir today. All right. And yeah, let's get to this day in history and get to all this news for you on this Friday edition of Weaponized News. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Let's see what the chat is like. Shout out to everybody in the chat there. We got Chloe, Ruckus, Snarky Guy. Shout out to Snarky Guy for plugging us on his stream before we went live here. We have Denver back. I hope you're feeling better today, Denver. I know all this can get to you after a while if you follow it close and you're just like, my God, this is pure evil. You know what I mean? It's just like, it gets to you after a while. I want to go scream as well. But I hope you're feeling better today, Denver. Shout out to Karen. And hopefully more people will join us here as we get through today's news. Yeah, maybe cat videos will get us. Oh, by the way, shout out to, I don't know what happened on Substack, but Weaponized News is blowing up on Substack with subscribers and followers. So I don't know what happened. They took the brakes off of us. Some places finally recognizing the friggin' work that we're doing here every day, just about, you know what I mean? And so shout out to the Substack audience. Even though I haven't felt bold enough to push that live on Substack yet, because I went to go try to do it and it was like, I don't even have that feature. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, we'll try to go live on Substack, but as of now, we just I upload the replay of the show, and all the show notes are there for your further research. So anyway, shout out to Substack audience. I don't know, they took the governor off, and we're blowing up. Like I said, I haven't seen any action like this on the interwebs in a very long time, because all your big techs were throttled, shadow banned into nothingness. But over there on Substack, I don't know, man, what's going on, but somebody took the freaking governor off. And like I said, my email's been steady the last 2-3 days of followers, subscribers. And so thank you. I appreciate you guys over there on the Substack. However, I don't know how it happened. A big account must have saw our report or something. That's usually how it happens, and shared it or something. I don't know. But anyway, okay, on to this day in history. And it's kind of short today, this day in history. On this day of July 11th, going back to the year 1740, the aardvarks are expelled from Little Russia. They should have kept that expulsion going. as the Bolsheviks turned around, about a century later here now, and murdered a bunch of Russians and overthrew their government during the Bolshevik Revolution. So they should have stick to their guns there, but they didn't. One of my favorite events in history happened in 1804, and it was the political duel between Vice President Aaron Burr at the time. He shot and mortally wounded then former Secretary of the Treasury Alexander Hamilton in a pistol duel. And so if all these politicians that love to blah, 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 talk out both sides of their mouth, and they love the new saying that the kids say F around and find out, well, let's bring back political duels, and then let's see who's really serious in all of this, as the founding fathers did. And so it's part of America is to have political pistol duels, and they need to be brought back for all of these politicians, honestly. But anyway, that happened on this date in 1804. In 1812, on this day, U.S. invades Canada. I didn't even know that happened, but indeed, U.S. invades Canada, Detroit frontier there up north. In 1889, Tijuana in Mexico becomes a city. In 1955, Congress authorizes all U.S. currency to say, quote, "In God we trust." But again, which God are they talking about? I don't think it's the God of Jesus of Nazareth. I think it's this other God called Satan, if you want to know the truth about who these people are worshiping. In 1960, To Kill a Mockingbird was published on this day. And let's go ahead. Like I said, it was this day in history, but I did find one on this day for our civil liberties in history. And anything that has conspiracy in it, I love to talk about. Dr. Spock's conviction for conspiracy to oppose the Vietnam War draft overturned. The convictions of Dr. Benjamin Spock, Reverend William Sloane Coffin, and Michael Ferber, and Mitch Goodman for conspiracy to aid and abet resistance to the draft during the Vietnam War were overturned on this day on legal technicalities by the First Circuit Court of Appeals. The decision did not address First Amendment issues, and at the trial, the defendants had been able to raise the issue of war crimes by the United States in the Vietnam War. The indictment and trial of Dr. Spock in particular had been an embarrassment to the administration of LBJ and later the Nixon administration. Dr. Spock was the most famous pediatrician in America, as the author of the infamously popular book Baby and Child Care, published in 1946. Dr. Spock and his co-defendants had been indicted on January 5th, 1968. A key document in the prosecution was the call to resist illegitimate authority, September 27, 1967, on one of the most important statements of the anti-war movement. So I thought there is no such thing. You're a crazy person if you believe in conspiracy. But as I continue to say, like every other federal indictment says conspiracy in it, and so they can't reconcile this. These propagandist liars at the intelligence agencies and your Mockingbird media, they cannot reconcile this fact that there is indeed very many conspiracies in this world, and that's per your federal government. All right, here's the segue, and then we'll get into all the news for you. This is, of course, parody And so don't take it seriously.
Breaking news about the Epstein case.
Turns out there is no client list, like, at all.
Seriously, they sure fooled me. Shapiro-Stein, take it away.
At Epstein Island, it turns out all of the people that were trafficked here just didn't exist. After all, the dude isn't even alive to tell us anymore. Jenny, back to you.
We're here outside of that dude's wife's prison holding the first person ever to be convicted of trafficking to nobody.
I'm here with Ghislaine, serving 20 years for having imaginary friends, thousands of Epstein victims, but 0 clients. How are you?
I 100% deserve this.
True. Where's the client list?
Israel is our greatest ally. What do you think of the verdict? How about ask how much I got paid? No other comments. What do you think of this? Sometimes you have to just let that long arm of the law all the way into the back of your colon and just let it marinate, you know? What the heck?
Sounds like we could use another Luigi, if you know what I'm saying.
Right. It's almost like the so-called Semites run the court systems and media or something.
Shut it down. My grandparents were in the pizza cost. You know that. How many times do I have to tell you? Now, back to the Goyslop.
Sorry, Shapiro-Stein, won't happen again. In other news, we're down the street from where your grandparents got pizza costed. Jackie goes live from inside Elephantis' hub. We're here at Comet Pizza. Did you hear about the 6 million pizzas?
I heard they only did 271,000, but anyways. You want to see my kill room?
It's true. Anyone can search the archive for CYM Corporation's files and find out everything.
Cut. Okay, we cut that in post-production. Jenny, don't say anything antiseptic.
If only everyone saw Hillary's emails, people would understand the whole adrenochrome issue is real.
Not now. They're not ready for that. Just give them the Epstein thing and shut them down.
Right, John?
You're not wrong about that Hillary thing. Anyways, if you're still not following Jake GTV yet, you're legally retarded.
That was a parody. I got to, that was a good one though. AI, obviously you could tell, but pretty good there. Maybe it's Denver giving us the boost. He says he's been sharing that episode that had the 5 pillars of human enslavement presentation at the end. Well, thank you very much, Denver. We're actually seeing some results on my end over here. Thank you. I'm gonna have to look that guy up and try to get him on the show, huh? He had a YouTube channel, pretty small, but that guy knew his stuff, right? And so probably need to track him down and try to get him on. Okay, let's get to the news here. Epstein has enriched a lot of lawyers even after his death, as his estate continues to employ his close aides. Payments to law firms and other litigation-related entities from the Epstein accounts by entity. Let's take a look. So even in his death, there's a lot of millions of dollars flying around here. Look at these guys, $17 million plus. Berman, Crichton, Luthier, and Coleman. Yeah. What's up with these guys? $769.20. Is that a troll? That feels like a troll to me. Anyway, so there's your law firms. Of course, Dershowitz. Still, of course, all of high ethical, value. Still milking the ill-gotten gains of the Epstein estate there. Quite horrific, if I don't say so. Again, reminder, Bohemian Grove is set to kick off tomorrow. And so the quote global elite will be there doing their dark occultic rituals and ceremonies and figuring out how they're going to terminate everyone, as is usually the course. So let's try to keep an eye on that. I used to know some guys from the Bay Area that went there and protested every year, but I lost contact with them due to the fact I was deleted off the internet. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that kind of really sucks. But anyway, keep an eye out for Bohemian Grove reporting this coming week here now, actually starting tomorrow. Let's hear from old John McCain's wife. ambassador to the UN, running the UN food aid program. She says that everyone knew he was abusing underage kids and looked the other way out of fear. Well, if you're in a position of authority and you're afraid, then you're worthless. You failed and you're going to hell. Sorry.
Plain sight. Epstein was hiding in plain sight. We all knew about him. We all knew what he was doing. But we had no one that was, legal aspect that would go after him. They were afraid of him. For whatever reason, they were afraid of him. Plain sight. Epstein was hiding in plain sight. We all knew about him. We all knew what he was doing.
Justice Department didn't know anything. Neither did the FBI. Strange. She knew. Oh, the chat says, Seiler, about the old 2 weeks thing. It's from Leviticus, they say. Seiler says, where they sent the people with leprosy away for 1 week, and if they weren't better, they would send them away for another week. Yeah, well, quarantine back in the day. So see, 2 weeks works, right? Right. Okay. Here's old Catherine Austin Fitz, former Bush HUD official in Solara Airport. She's what does she say here? Well, let's watch the clip here about the missing funds. Fitz warns that the Epstein files could blow open $20 trillion in Pentagon thefts. We don't have this problem again today. I don't know what's up with X here, man. Maybe it's these guys' account, Hotspot. Shout out to Hotspot, Big Mad Crab, and Snow. I don't know if he works with them, but I know Big Mad Crab does. Anyway, I was on their show.
Many people who are in positions of responsibility in the government might not want this disclosed. Is I think it has the possibility at a moment when the dollar reserve currency status is in flux, and people are feeling pretty sensitive about it. I think if the truth about Epstein came out, those files would lead to a truth about the money that's disappeared out the back door in the federal government, and the truth about Operation Warp Speed and why the agency missing $20 trillion is running around demanding we inject mysterious ingredients in people's body, which this administration continues to promote. I think it will help people integrate the dots between the missing money and Operation Warp Speed in a way that really threatens the financial system. It's one thing to manage the dollar successfully. It's another thing to try and manage it when people know your sort of covert tricks. And of course, that covert trick threatens Americans' retirement savings in a very deep and bad way. We don't have a debt problem, we have a robbery problem. And I think if too many Americans connect the dots, many people feel it would be dangerous for the financial system.
BlackRock, Vanguard named in the UN report complicit in genocide. So your retirement funding over there is funding genocide. So I hope you're happy about that, whoever has their retirements tied up in those institutions. Top Epstein victims attorney, Surridge McCauley accused the Trump administration of hiding a treasure trove of evidence, including financial records with money trails, and denying access to them. Well, she'll pronounce it better than me. Sigrid, excuse me. Let's watch this report.
Attorney Sigrid McCauley, managing partner at Boyes Schiller Flexner, is one of the last active Epstein cases, has one of the last cases going on right now in federal court, all against Epstein's longtime accountant and lawyer. And she joins me now. Sigrid, great to have you. So people who have spent years insisting there was a conspiracy or that Epstein was murdered are disappointed, even outraged, that there seems to be no new information. But actually, for you and your case, there has been some valuable information you've been able to glean from what the government has released. What is it?
There's been a lot of information we've been able to glean. And I think what's really just astonishing about this recent disclosure from the government is that they know they are sitting on a treasure trove of information and they're not turning it over. And I've worked on these cases for over 10 years now. There's a plethora of information that the public has not been able to see relating to Epstein and his co-conspirators. And as you said, we have a case going on right now in federal court addressing some of those issues.
What kind of information?
All kinds of information. I mean, certainly if you look at what the government recently disclosed, the first time Pam Bondi came out and gave us some information, you'll see a list where they took multiple computers, multiple items from the houses. You know, they not only secured information from his Florida house, but also from his New York house. What was on those computers? The public has not seen that. What do the financial records tell us? Do they tell us that money was being given to him by certain individuals, that money was flowing out to certain individuals? All of that is critical for the public to be able to know, to understand how someone could have operated a sex trafficking scheme for over 20 years without being convicted.
The Trump administration is getting a lot of blowback from their own base, from their own supporters who have long bought into these conspiracy theories. Why wouldn't they release all that information if they have it?
It's a great question. It's one I've been pondering for quite some time. I mean, we heard this rhetoric at the beginning that everything was going to come out. They would be an open book. This would be a new administration with a new take on the Epstein scandal. But now what we're seeing is the exact opposite. They're walking all of those words back and not standing by them.
Do you have any information that the Attorney General Pam Bondi is refusing to withhold anything or has been asked not to withhold, to reveal something?
Well, it's self-evident. If you just look at the information that we know that they have, there had to be information on those computers. There has to be other information that they could disclose. I understand the concern, and I have that significant concern over protecting survivors' rights and making sure that we're not disclosing, for example, any child pornography information. However, there's a ton of information of what happened in Epstein's world, who was coming into his homes, who was leaving his homes, who he was paying, who he wasn't paying, etc. And that information has not flowed out from the government.
Yeah, you're talking about bank records that should be out there. While the Attorney General was just talking about child pornography, nobody wants to see that. And nobody should see that. But your point is there's a lot of very valuable information that you could be using in your case and that people deserve to know.
People certainly deserve to know. I mean, the survivors out there deserve.
Yeah, well, at least these, you guys want to take another look at that list? Let's take another look at the lawyers profiteering off of the victims here. Yeah. All right. What do we got here? So I mentioned it at the beginning. I'm not buying any of it. They're all in on it, laughing at us, mocking us. But allegedly, there's a falling out between Patel, Dan Bongino. They want Pamela Bondi out of the DOJ. I'm not buying it. You're not tricking me anymore. You're all in it. You're all crooks. You're all crooked. And so, what was the reports? There was a report. Oh, the DOJ. They quietly let Pfizer off. They were looking into Pfizer for bribery. That's all gone away quietly here now. It's just the hits keep coming from these crooks, from your MAGA saviors here now. Man, this thing's running slow. X is very slow today, to say the least. It's lagging in the show. Apologies. Let me find this quickly. I saw this earlier today. Bondi made changes to DOJ policy her former client Pfizer might have benefited. Well, they dropped a bribery investigation into Pfizer. That's a Miami Herald there. So it just keeps piling up. And then of course this buffoonery, the White House has become a parody of itself here now. And then the next one. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say we can't post banger memes. Really? That's real professional. I'm glad you're representing America here. OMG, did the White House really post this? Excuse me. Yeah, we've been saying that. And it sure does look like Barron Trump and his college fraternity are running the White House X account. It's just it's embarrassing at this point. But they're mocking us, humiliating us, demoralizing us with this nonsense. Okay, they say new. That same reporter, White House correspondent woman, Mary Margaret Olahan, she says White House weighs in, though. This is talking about that alleged falling out between the FBI and the DOJ, right? Bondi, Patel, and Bongino. She says here, President Trump has assembled a highly qualified and experienced law and order team dedicated to protecting Americans, holding criminals accountable, and delivering justice to victims. This work is being carried out seamlessly and with unity. Any attempt to sow division within this team is baseless and distracts from the real progress being made in restoring public safety and pursuing justice for all. Well, except for the Epstein victims there, right? And so what a load of bullshit. It just keeps on coming. And so they're literally, and look, they think this is cool and flashy and you're going to love it. The crime syndicate, U.S. federal government, they're hardcore gangsters. Take a look. And they think that somehow we're supposed to say, yeah, you're driving brand new black SUVs at my expense and you're freaking awesome. No, you're criminal pieces of garbage. That's on the way to Texas, and idiots are cheering it. Yay, you got $100,000 plus SUVs with friggin', armored and bulletproof and all this at my expense, at taxpayer expense. You're wonderful. No, they're driving black SUVs because they're hardcore gangsters. Like what? People need to freaking seriously see things for what they really are. Here's Trump and Melania, his alleged wife. Do we even believe this is a wife anymore? I don't know. They lie about every friggin' thing. Who knows at this point? Anyway, Trump and Melania. Trump over there with the first responders from Kernville, Texas. Let's watch this short clip. Yeehaw. We have one fan there in the ruckus is happy that Trump is in his state there. And so, again, the White House, like, what is going on here, man? Seriously. ICE raids marijuana fields filled with illegals. Crying Jimmy, they're just strawberry pickers. That ain't produce, Holmes. That's product. They're talking about Representative Jimmy Gomez here out of California. How many MS-13 gang members are waking up at 3 a.m. to pick strawberries? Oh yeah, 0. Trump said he'd go after bad hombres, but he's targeting the immigrant farm workers who feed America. Either he lied or he can't tell the difference. And they're mocking Democrat Representative Jimmy Gomez here on the White House official account. Yeah, it's not a good look, man. It's not a good look. Okay, on to the video. Why Department of Homeland Security says, why are their children working at a marijuana facility? Replying to Gavin Newsom, info warrior out there. And so we do appreciate Gavin Newsom's efforts in the info war. Let's take a look at the video posted by Gavin Newsom. Wait, what did he say first? Gavin Newsom says, kids running from tear gas, crying on the phone because their mother was just taken from the fields. Trump calls me new scum, but he's the real scum. You're all scum. How about that?
They took your mom? Do not panic, do not run! Do not run! Stay calm! They took your mom?
Pretty wild video. We got more though, you see. 10 juveniles were found at this marijuana facility, all illegal aliens, 8 of them unaccompanied. It's now under investigation for child labor violations. That's the Border Patrol says that. Anti-ICE protesters assault federal vehicles during the raid. Let's watch this clip. They're throwing rocks at them. They're getting bold, man. They're getting bold. Another failure of the Trump administration. We have had no mass deportations. He's floating the idea of amnesty. Here's another shot. Aerial footage shows ICE agents versus the illegal aliens at the marijuana factory over there. No audio on this, obviously. And we have a clip of a guy. He actually takes some shots at him. And so I don't know, man. It just feels like this is a waste of resources. You're not getting very many with this large show of force. It feels like it's just all made for TV movie here now. Honestly, this is not efficient deportation method at all. Where is the, did we have it? I thought I had another video. Let's see. Is this the one? Maybe we're going to have to watch it on here. Let's see. I had video of, yeah, here it is. This guy takes a shot at him, a couple shots actually. If we can get it to play. What is up today? Lagging. Here we go. Take a look at this. A protester.
It appears a protester fired some kind of gun at federal agents. This happened this afternoon. It was a really chaotic scene at the time. A lot of smoke was being launched at the protesters.
Smoke? That was tear gas. I don't know where they get these goofy news reporters, but okay. So that happened. And again, it feels like just a show. They're putting on a show, not efficient use of resources, our tax money. Somehow that's my tax money. Somehow that's my tax money. And we don't get much of, if any, result. We went over yesterday, what was it, something like rough, excuse me if I don't have the exact numbers, but my memory says it was like 30,000 arrested and like only 18,000 deported, something like that in the last couple months. So it's like, it's literally nothing, a drop in the bucket, but they put on big shows like this raid to act like they're doing something. It's just, they're not getting it done. It's failure by the Trump administration. And I would argue at this point, it's by design. He never intended to do mass deportation. He always intended to do amnesty, mass amnesty. This poor guy, Khalik Sheikh Mohammed, the alleged mastermind of 9/11, I guess he was working with, you know, Western intelligence agencies. I don't know. They don't say that part out loud. But this poor soul, Khalik Sheikh Mohammed, he appeals court throws out plea deal for alleged mastermind of 9/11 attacks today. A divided federal appeals court today threw out an argument that would have allowed accused September 11th mastermind Khalik Sheikh Mohammed to plead guilty in a deal sparing him the risk of execution for Al-Qaeda's 2001 attacks. And so they want to give this guy the death penalty still. He's been in prison 20 plus years under harsh conditions, I assume. So he ain't having any fun with it at all. But hell, over in Syria, we just freaking lifted sanctions and are giving them the A-OK to Al-Qaeda in Syria. So give old Khalik Sheikh Mohammed another shake. You know what I'm saying? Nah, this guy's not getting out of prison ever. And he is the 9/11 patsy taking the fall. And yeah, so that happened today. Continuing. Oh, the good news. The good news, again, as I mentioned briefly, but here it is. Our friend Peter Duke at the Duke Report. DukeReportBooks.com. And he's rebuilding his database of books here, essential to our understanding of the global conspiracy. And you could see it just goes on and on. He has it organized very nicely here. Psychology, mind control, eugenics, philosophical madness, scientism, medicine, global drug running, oligarchy, politique, Fabian socialism, Zionism, educational warfare, secret societies, counterintelligence cover-ups, 9/11, on and on it goes, right? And so all of your essential reading here to understand what the hell's really going on here in this world. Even throws in some UFO files. And so quite a bit here to go through, a massive database. So very good resource here for researchers on the interwebs, I would say. And he's still rebuilding it. And again, after the oligarchs burn his house down there in the Pacific Palisades, and I finally made the big time. He's got 5, and it just goes on and on and on with all these books. One of my favorites, Propaganda, Edward Bernade's. Everybody should get that and read it. It's an easy, thick, short read as compared to something like Tragedy and Hope. Or this is like some summary of it, but The Tragedy and Hope's like what, 1,200, 1,400 pages, a thick tome, very difficult. This book right here, right? Academic reading. It's very difficult, very dry, but that tells us a history of the world in our time. Of course, all-time classic there, but this one as well. And you could go through here, pick out your favorite books, help support Peter Duke. He needs the support since the oligarchs did burn down his house and his whole freaking city, essentially. Again, great resource here, dukereportbooks.com there. And I believe there's 5 pages of it now. This is another good one, The Secrets of the Federal Reserve. Everybody should read that. It's basically just congressional testimony. But Eustace Mullins did a great job researching there and documenting all of that for us. And so it's like 5 pages right now, and you can see stacked with all these books. I don't know. I guess reading and even having books is a conspiracy theory, and you're some kind of nut. You're some kind of crazy person, nut job conspiracy theorist. If you're like, no, look, this is, you know what I mean? You pull out the book and you're like, no, look, here's the book. Here's what it says. It has here's the sources. I can prove what I'm saying here to you now. That sounds crazy to the normie mind out there. And they'll still say, well, no, you're insane. Books are a conspiracy. It doesn't exist, just like the Epstein list. And so that's the level that we're at here now in society. It's quite saddening. But as long as we know and we can cite our sources, F all of the normies that don't want to do any work at all to, learn anything and just sit there and parrot, mainstream talking points from the intelligence agencies is what we're faced with here now. But we know in our heart that we can take these books, cite our sources, and know the damn truth, man. There is such a thing as discernible truth in this world. So a great resource right there. Again, dukereportbooks.com. Everybody should go check that out. And to plug Weaponized News, the link to that will be on Weaponized News Substack. Okay. What else do we got? Maybe some good news. I don't know. Are they going to exploit it? Probably. Are they going to destroy the environment? Probably. The U.S. is opening its first rare earth mine in more than 70 years, providing a critical supply of 6 of the 7 rare earth elements that are used in everything from warplanes. What is this about, man? This is for Rapid Response 47. They're prepping us to go to war, man. The great peaceniks, from warplanes to semiconductors to our smartphones. Let's watch this report about it.
Well, guess what? Today, the U.S. is going to be opening its first rare earth mine in more than 70 years. Kelly Saberi is there in Ranchester, Wyoming. Beautiful place. Kelly, what are we going to get out of this mine?
Hi, David. Yeah, this is a critical moment for the U.S. We are going to get 6 of the 17 rare earth elements that are used in everything from warplanes to semiconductors and powerful magnets and even things that go into our cell phones. Now, this is revolutionary for not just us, but our allies, as we'll be able to break our dependence on China to acquire these rare earth minerals. Now, what I want to tell you about is China not only provides 70% of the U.S. supply, but also mines 70% of the world's rare earth minerals. China has basically cut off the rest of the world now from acquiring 7 of these elements since April in retaliation for President Trump's tariffs. So this will be a game changer, and they've only studied a third of the land here. Take a listen to this.
The United States uses about 10,000 tons a year of rare earth. We've got 1.7 million. So just on the math, that's north of 150 years worth of supply just at this mine. So this mine will basically be America's answer to China.
One mine, really? And are they going to follow any environmental regulations? Probably not. They'll probably destroy the whole damn place. I found this funny. I don't know why. I laughed out loud when I saw this stupid meme today. I don't know. I was feeling, I don't know, maybe a little bit down, just thinking about how damn evil everything is and how damn stupid the normies are out there. But anyway, here's a stupid meme. I thought it was funny. And so I thought I would show it to you on this Friday. My license got suspended. So I used storm drain networks to evade the law, become ungovernable. So ridiculous, right? Anyway, my goofy, nerdy self thought that was pretty funny. Okay, what do we got here? We got public health news. Let's take the commercial break before we get to the public health news sector. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com, get yourself some stickers there. We appreciate all of the subscribers, the new ones on Substack, and the new followers that we've been getting in over the last couple days. Truly appreciate it, but help us out with some, and help us spread the word about Weaponized News even more. Get yourself a holograph sticker, a white background sticker, and the clear background sticker here. We have at weaponizednews.com. We have a donation button there as well. We take donations. If you feel so inclined, our Bitcoin wallet address is at the bottom of the description of this video. We definitely take Bitcoin. By the way, all-time high for Bitcoin today. I saw out there on the interwebs. Go to weaponizednews.com. Help us out. Get some stickers. We do have some books in the store as well. And let's now hear a word from our sponsor, and we'll be back with the second half of the show for you.
Running a small business feeling overwhelmed by numbers and paperwork? Abazaba Enterprises has your back. Our expert business solutions include accounting, QuickBooks support, payroll, taxes, and top-notch consulting. Let us handle the details so you can focus on growing your business. Business Solutions Accounting, QuickBooks, Consulting, Payroll, Taxes. Call 559-577-9250. Call Abazaba Enterprises today at 559-577-9250 for stress-free solutions.
And we're back. Welcome back to the second half of Weaponized News on this Friday edition, January 11th, 2025. Thank you for joining us. Okay, public health section. Let's hear a word from Bobby Kennedy Jr. And I'm leading in to show you that they're all full of shit. And I wish it wasn't this way, but it is.
And then some of the really bad stuff, we're going to just tell the industry, you know, we don't want you using this anymore. Kraft, which is our biggest food producer in this country, announced that it was getting rid of dyes. We met with Starbucks. You know, they have very clean food, but they do use a little bit of canola oil in their egg bites. And they said, we're going to get rid of that.
Those are one of my favorites.
Egg bites? We've had Tyson's Food say we're getting rid of all the food dyes. So the industry has been wonderful. It's coming in here. It's meeting with us. They're cooperating with us, and they're working with us to make this happen.
Turns out, old Jeffrey Jackson from the High Wire, he reported here now, why are Bondi and the DOJ and White House defending water fluoridization? Tongue-tied on that one. The decision to appeal the court's order was not made by the HHS, so we got to give Bobby Kennedy a pass on that one. But it was made by the Solicitor General of the Department of Justice, who reports to Pam Bondi and the White House. Of course, the real public health hero of our day here, Michael Conant of Fluoride Action Network, that doesn't get near the credit that he deserves. After several extensions, the Trump administration has decided to appeal the federal court decision ordering EPA to address the risk posed by water fluoridization. EPA will be filing its appeal next Friday. Rather than use the court's decision as an opportunity, lost my place there, as an opportunity to finally end water fluoridization, as most of Europe has already done, the EPA will spend its time legally challenging the court's order. Why did we elect the Trump administration again? The MAGAs? What? It's the same as the last. It's the government. They're just disgusting criminals. We know, it's been proven, that's not even debated anymore, that fluoride is a neurotoxin and it lowers IQ, and especially in children. They don't give a damn. They're sick, depopulationist, eugenicist freaks. EPA, DOJ are now actively fighting against addressing the risks of water fluoridization, making a federal level ban unlikely to occur at this time. This pisses me off to no end. It should piss you off too to no end, unless you've had too much fluoride. But now on to our former doctor, Bill Gates here now. We had to drop him, of course. He was our doctor during the medical intervention, keeping us safe. We followed all his rules, of course. He's the greatest man alive. Bill Gates there, YouTube. But we got to play this video for you and just praise him, I guess. But we had to drop him as our doctor because he was on the Epstein and his wife divorced him. We do appreciate all of his eugenics and depopulation activities as well, simultaneously posing as a savior of the world, the leading philanthropist at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. But we had to drop him as our doctor because he cheated on his wife and he sexually harassed his employees, amongst other wrongdoings. But let's see a video that he just posted today on the X about his, he's going to redeem himself for all of those wrongdoings.
Vaccines are the biggest single reason why childhood deaths have gone from 10 million a year down to under 5 million. Donors from around the world, including the Gates Foundation, created a group called Gavi that buys vaccines for the world's children in very poor countries. Now there's a proposal to cut the majority of that aid. And if that money's not there, a lot of children will not get vaccines. And that alone will lead to over 1 million additional deaths. I hope we can afford to maintain the generosity to keep these people alive.
I have a sneaking suspicion that that money, one way or another, is going to keep on flowing. And I'll leave it at that. He also went on to say he was on a little bit of a tear. A bunch of people went after him on X. He closed down comments there. I don't know why. Yeah, he was our doctor, and then Ruckus says now he's our farmer. Well, you know what I mean? It's worth it to eat whatever he cooks up with his lab-grown food and his GMOs and all that. It's healthy for us, and we shouldn't question anything coming out of Bill Gates or his foundations or Gavi or any of this stuff, because he's a philanthropist that has our best intention at heart. All right. The devastating effects of these cuts are entirely preventable, and it's not too late to reverse them. He also said, talking about the proposed cuts to USAID funding there. An HIV doctor in Africa whose work depends on USAID and PEPFAR sends in a dispatch of the bleak situation now unfolding there. It is sad and bleak, probably brought in much part about by their efforts there, but another Sam Stein, posted that. But my question is, why am you and I, and it is tragic that those people have whatever they call it, HIV, whatever it may be, that they're ill over there in Africa. That's bad and sad and tragic. But why is it our responsibility as taxpayers? Why is that put on the back of us? Honestly, Africa needs to take care of their own Africans that are ill. I'm sorry, but come on, man. We can't take care of the whole world. We got enough problems here in America. One more story about Bill Gates, our former doctor, now our farmer. Michelle Pfeiffer launches extraordinary attack on Bill Gates. That's the actress, Michelle Pfeiffer. She launches extraordinary attack on Bill Gates and suggests he'll contaminate America's food supply. Ruckus? Well, she's a damn conspiracy theorist now, isn't she? Iconic actress, this is a report out of the Daily Mail. Iconic actress Michelle Pfeiffer has launched a shocking attack on billionaire Bill Gates. If they think that's shocking, they should go look at the comments on his X when he posts this stuff that I just played for you. Anyway, continuing, and suggested he's going to contaminate America's food supply. In an extraordinarily rare move for the low-key actress, Pfeiffer took to Instagram yesterday to express concern over the FDA's approval of Appeal, a Gates-backed food coating meant to extend the shelf life of produce. You see, he's just trying to keep the produce around, keep it fresh longer. It's for our own good. Appeal, an edible plant-based coating designed to extend the shelf life of fresh fruits and vegetables, was just approved, and now organic produce is coated in something we cannot see or wash off, Pfeiffer wrote. Very concerning. Well, that's extreme criticism. And then they go on here to act dumb and act like, well, how could she possibly be concerned about this? Here's her post on the old Instagram. Let's take a look. Shocking, I know. Appeal, well, we already said it. Organic produce is no longer safe. This has been around a while. She's catching on and made a post about it. Horrific. She'll probably never work again. Okay, so Denver mentioned this yesterday, and so did I, because I did read the report here, but we'll get into it now from Organic Consumers Association. Let's take a look. Well, Maha, Bobby Kennedy Jr., and the whole crew over there at Public Health, the FDA, and the like, they're keeping us safe, right? They're cleaning up the food supply. Turns out not so much. New agrochemicals are even more toxic than the old ones. What? Yeah. The Millions Against Monsanto movement made glyphosate the main ingredient in Monsanto's Roundup weed killer a household word. Once trial lawyers had enough evidence linking glyphosate with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, they forced Bayer, which merged with Monsanto in 2018, to pay billions of dollars to at least 175,000 Roundup exposed cancer victims. But I thought that was just a conspiracy theory. Oh, continuing here. That prompted Bayer to announce that it would stop selling Roundup. But what it really meant is that it would reformulate, replacing glyphosate with even worse toxins, a ferric victory. Glyphosate is one of the most used chemicals in agriculture, where pesticide applicators and farm workers have little choice over what they're exposed to. But glyphosate is being phased out of certain products to meet consumer demand and reduce Bayer's liability. Meanwhile, the EPA is working to approve new agrochemicals even more toxic than the old ones. Bayer's newly formulated Roundup contains Diquat, which is 200 times more toxic than glyphosate. Like glyphosate, Diquat kicks off a crusade of chronic health problems by damaging our gut health. That's where they are targeting us. And so thankfully we have that cleaned up, Maha Trump EPA that cares about everybody's health now. Well, yeah, actually they lied, and not so much. So be careful out there, man. 200 times more toxic. It's bad news. And foods that had become notorious for containing the most glyphosate are now turning up with the most dangerous levels of chloromequat. Right now, chloromequat is only used on imports, but the EPA wants to approve it for food grown in the U.S. The EPA has also given the green light to BASF's trifludimeoxazine. See, they got flu in there. And so, of course, I'm sure it mimics, poisoning by this mimics the symptoms of influenza, I would assume. I'm not 100% on that, but that's what the name alone tells me. Look into it. I'm probably right about it, but if I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. But anyway, continuing. A new herbicide that blocks the production of heme, a necessary component of the red blood cells that oxygenate our tissues. In animal studies, trifludimeoxazine causes liver, thyroid, neurological, and reproductive problems, as well as cancer. This is a reminder that it isn't enough to avoid Bayer's glyphosate or its herbicide-tolerant genetically modified organisms. It's really important to go completely organic, both with food you eat and what you use on your lawn and garden. I don't think anything is fully organic here now in this completely toxic world they've created, but there you go. Trump EPA, MAGA, they care about our health, and they proved it by approving this Diquat, and of course soon to be approved fludimeoxazine. And so we do appreciate their efforts to keep us healthy there through MAGA. It's quite horrific indeed. Weed killer ingredients widely used in the United States can damage organs and gut bacteria. Who cares? Shut up, conspiracy theorists. And that's all mainstream. That's The Guardian, that reporting that headline. They get into how it is an endocrine disruptor, as we've covered here before. Who cares? All that's conspiracy. Shut up and eat your 200 times more toxic fruits and vegetables. You damn criminal conspiracy, you theorist. Right. Okay. And along that line, who needs Mother Nature? Another side effect is the pollinators. The pollinators, right? Mainly the bees, the honeybees, but all kind of these bugs, butterflies, all kind of them are pollinators that keep nature going. I know that's a conspiracy as well, because the state is God here now, right? But another side effect of all these toxic pesticides in our environment is killing off the pollinators. Well, China's got an answer here in our new scientific dictatorship technocracy future. They're rolling out the robo-bee. And so who cares if we're killing off all Mother Nature? We have a robo-bee, and China's answered the call here. China unveils the world's first cyborg bee fitted with the lightest brain controller ever made, SCMP. Needles pierce its brain, sending pulses to steer flight left and right, back and forward. Scientists say it could scout disaster zones or battlefields. Nature hacked. Bee robot construction. Isn't this wonderful? There, now. Continuing on to our geopolitical and war section. Well, at least Trump's being honest here with us now. Secretary of War, I thought it was Secretary of Defense, but he's just straight up calling it, trapping us for war. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth was great on Fox News. He's talking about that commercial we played yesterday to normalize technocracy in our face with the drones. Here's China military propaganda rolling out. This is concerning. So that looks kind of scary. What did Snarky say he got banned for noticing on X? Yeah, well, put on the blinders, man, and trust in Trump. You'll be seeing things happen, Trump says, on Russia's recent attacks on Ukraine. Let's watch this short clip. Allegedly, well, Trump says on Monday there's going to be a big announcement. More sanctions? I don't know. Is he going to bomb Moscow? He may. Who knows? Who knows what this maniac will do?
Russian drones hit a maternity hospital in Ukraine overnight. I know. You'll be seeing things happen.
And so, of course, that's horrible. We keep saying both sides, Russia and Ukraine, bad, killing each other. Stop the war. I saw a bunch of reports about Ukraine killing kids over there in Russia. And so it's horrific. Stop killing each other over there. Trump to make a statement about Russia on Monday. And I saw the Senate, whatever they are, criminals in the Senate approved like $500 million, something like this, more to Ukraine. I thought we were done with this whole mess. That's what Trump said. But no, it turns out not so much. We're going to keep that war going. Let me look up quickly here, if I can, to give you the exact right report about that. I thought I had it pulled up here. Okay, here it is. The U.S. Senate Armed Services Committee approves $500 million in military aid for Ukraine, per Reuters today. Russia rejects France's call for Western, quote, peacekeepers in Ukraine. That's shocking, I know. Okay. Pentagon confirms for the first time that the Iranian missile got through air defenses and hit the base there in Qatar. Iranian ballistic missile hit the U.S. base in Qatar in June, and they're alleging it hit a communications center that was extremely expensive. This ball right here, if you could see it, that allegedly was hit. And yeah, so turns out it did a little bit more damage than U.S. Air Force installed a $15 million comms equipment, and here's pictures of it. And so this was blowing up now by Iran's missile, and Trump wanted to act like it was no big deal. Kind of a big deal. Iran said it was a slap in America's face. On to the genocide. NBC News reports Gaza babies' lives at risk as aardvarks block fuel used in hospital. It's being reported all over the mainstream here. I don't know. Don't be an antiseptic person, I guess. Let's go to this report from NBC News about it.
This is one of the most serious place in Nasser Medical Complex. All this unit, all this section is depending on the fuel system and energy. As we can see, the system, the mechanical ventilation, even the drug treatment and drug are depending on fuel system and energy. He was admitted in the hospital. He just need this incubator. This incubator depends on oxygen. He need also to give him.
So again, part of the siege, blocking food, water, clean water, medicine, energy. But that little baby, this little baby, of course, is a Hamas, right? That's a Hamas. And so That's what's going on here. The UN Human Rights Office reports it has documented that at least 798 Palestinians have been killed by the aardvarks over the last 6 weeks at aid distribution sites and en route to get aid at said aid distribution sites set up by America and the aardvarks backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. So these starving people go to the food aid and they get terminated. It's quite horrific. How many? 798 in the last 6 weeks. And that's just going to get food aid. Every time, well, let's watch this clip. It is in language, but they do translate it here. And these are aardvarks, the hardcore ones that want the end of the world. They want to fulfill their BS prophecy. Every time you returned from demolition operations in Gaza, you used to say 200 more Arabs will not return to Gaza, 500 and 1,000. You were proud of what you did. We want the temple. We want revenge. Talking about building that third temple to fulfill their apocalyptic fantasies, prophecies.
איך כל פעם היית חוזר מההריסות בעזה, היית אומר עוד 200 ערבים לא יחזרו לעזה, עוד 500, עוד 1,000. היית גאה במה שאתה עושה כל יום. איך אברהם, איך אהבת את ארץ ישראל האהובה שלנו. היית מחובר לאדמה הזאת מגיל קטן, אהבת אותה בכל חלקי גופך, נהנית מהבנייה שלה, נהנית לכבוש אותה. כמה זהה נשפך לך פה בארץ הזאת. תמיד חלמת על הפרויקט הגדול, לבנות את בית המקדש. תמיד דיברנו על זה. פינטזנו איך אנחנו הולכים לבנות את בית המקדש. שאפת לבנות אותו במו ידיך. היית תמיד אומר שאתה לא מתחבר לזה שהבית המקדש ייפול מהשמיים. רצית לבנות אותו בעצמך. איך הארץ הזאת ככה הסכימה לקבל את הדם שלך שנשפך ככה כמים? איך? ככה נשפך על כיבוש הארץ הקדושה. ארץ אל תכסי דמם. אברהם, כולנו יודעים שאפשר לסמוך עליך בעיניים עצומות. אתה יודע בדיוק לאיפה ללכת. כן, לשם. לך, תתפוס את הכיסא. תתפוס אותו בשתי ידיים ותנער אותו חזק כמו שרק אתה יודע לנער. תנער אותו, אברהם, תנער. אתה יודע מה אנחנו רוצים? אנחנו רוצים גאולה. אנחנו רוצים בית מקדש, אנחנו רוצים נקמה.
Again, these ultra-Zionists are religious, fanatical maniacs. Trump claimed the Houthis were dead. Now they're more powerful than ever. And aardvarks are lobbying right now to have the United States continue the bombing campaign against Yemen and the Houthis there. Let's check in on the customary Friday Yemeni million-man march. They put it on again today, and quite a turnout. And again, I'm still waiting for them just to bomb this whole thing and wipe out how many ever of them's there. Quite a few. I don't know if it's a million, but it's quite a few. Let's go to the video.
الجهاد
You can see there's a lot of them, and I'm just waiting for America, UK, aardvarks, all of them just bomb all of these people and wipe them all out. It wouldn't surprise me, honestly. Aardvarks lobby Washington to restart war with Yemen, according to the Cradle. Aardvark Land is pressuring the United States to restart its campaign against the Yemeni armed forces and Ansarallah movement in Yemen, according to reports by Aardvark Media. We'll be bombing Yemen again soon here now, most likely, after they sink that ship. Here's Spain's Prime Minister, Pedro Sanchez. The humanitarian disaster Netanyahu's government is causing in Gaza and the West Bank will be remembered as one of the 21st century's darkest episodes. Europe is not doing enough to stop this genocide. Another antiseptic guy here, the head guy over there in Spain.
Ustedes saben que el desastre humanitario que el gobierno de Netanyahu está perpetrando en Gaza y también en Cisjordania es una infamia que será recordada en los libros de historia como uno de los episodios más oscuros del siglo XXI. Y ustedes saben también que Europa pues, no está haciendo lo suficiente para tratar de frenar este genocidio. Las imágenes aterradoras de niños y niñas buscando a sus familiares bajo los escombros, muriéndose de hambre en una tienda de campaña, deberían conmovernos, avergonzarnos y también a la comunidad internacional y particularmente a Europa movilizarnos. Usted...
So even Spain's prime minister's noticing, probably needs to be banned as well. British aardvark analyst and commentator Daniel Levy. Let's take a listen to what he has to say here. He says that the Netanyahu government is avoiding a deal to protect plans for a concentration camp as part of a strategy to force the mass expulsion of Gaza's population, ethnic cleansing, and summarily termination.
Going through the Israeli press from this morning, and it's fascinating that in some of the coverage they are actually saying what is holding back a deal. One of the reasons that Netanyahu will not agree even to this 60 days is he doesn't want these plans for kettling people into the south to be upended by the provisions of any ceasefire arrangement. They are saying that his insistence on where Israel will continue to be deployed, even during what he considers a temporary pause, is because he doesn't want to lose what you have exposed this morning, the preparations for putting people in this tiny area. And I think we can take very seriously, because we saw it already in the last ceasefire, the idea that even a pause will be used to further cement who will fund, how will we build, who are the donors going to be, who could perhaps take in the Palestinians. Because the idea, as I think you've mentioned, Nastasia, is you kettle people in to this tiny area. It's unlivable already in broader Gaza, let alone squeezing people into a smaller zone, and then you remove them from the territory entirely. And don't imagine for one moment that what begins in Gaza ends in Gaza. The intention is for them to model this for the West Bank, and of course, the horrors that we are seeing in Gaza, the abuse of humanitarian aid, is something that could well be coming to a neighborhood near you, wherever you are in the world, as long as Israel is allowed to get away.
Indeed. Indeed, that's what we've been warning here. You don't think they're going to use this against any of their opposition, those that notice? And the like. Satellite images show Gaza's Rafah flattened for new aardvark concentration camp, but it is mostly humanitarian, as Haaretz was reporting yesterday there. Tel Aviv is moving forward with plans to force hundreds of thousands of Palestinians into the ruins of Rafah, with those left outside reportedly set to be identified as Hamas terrorists and eliminated. And there's Rafah. leveled the joint. But of course, it was all Hamas's, right? Right. And they say the quiet part out loud right here. They say, so anyone who doesn't go to the concentration camp will be eliminated. Doesn't that sound genocidal at all? Nah, it sounds humanitarian to me. They say, consequently, those outside these zones will be identified as Hamas terrorists, providing legal justification for their elimination. Damn, man. They're just naked and bold here now in the genocide. Here's the defense minister, Katz. Look what he posted. Their war crimes, and they brag about it. After Rafah, Bennett, Hanun, no shelter for terror. And they literally leveled the whole place. You can see they're bragging about it again. Again, Gaza City flattened. They're bold war criminals, man. Supposedly, allegedly, I don't know what they're going to do, cut off the cocaine. I don't know. Colombia to host international summit against aardvark land impunity. No nation is above the law. Are you going to go to war with them, Colombia? Cut off their cocaine supply? I don't know what they're going to do, but they're going to host this international summit. Bogota will include over 20 nations as part of the Hague's group campaign to confront aardvark war crimes in Gaza through coordinated legal, diplomatic, and economic action. Well, maybe they are going to cut off the cocaine to aardvarks. I don't know, but that's being reported. We'll see what comes out of that. Sadly, I'm very cynical at this point, and I don't think much will. We will have to wait and see there, though, what they can do here now. And that summit is coming up next week, the 15th and the 16th there of July in Bogota, Colombia. Are they going to be able to do anything? I don't know. Oh, look, New York Times, the failing New York Times finally caught up to Weaponized News reporting here. How Netanyahu prolonged the war in Gaza to stay in power. You think? Secret meetings, altered records, ignored intelligence, the inside story of the prime minister's political calculation since October 7th. Well, good job, failing New York Times. You finally caught up with me at Weaponized News and the rest of our contributors here, as we've been saying this for a very long time because it's self-evident. But he's a wartime president and hero that saved the world, according to Trump, right? But the failing New York Times is finally reporting the truth here now. The Hague Group convenes states across the world to an emergency conference to halt the genocide in Gaza. A memo released by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs from the Republic of Colombia there. Again, the most damage they could do is probably cut off their cocaine supply there in aardvark land. There's the memo. Carrie says LaRouche organization has a summit on their website this weekend in Berlin. Yeah, maybe they can do something. I don't know if they're main cocaine suppliers like Colombia, but maybe they have something up their sleeve. I don't know. We'll have to take a look and see what they're up to there, as more people are noticing now around the world. AP reports UN investigator and critic of aardvark's actions in Gaza tells AP she was shocked by U.S. sanctions. And of course, that's Francesca Albanese. The real should be the real winner. If we weren't in clown world idiocracy dystopia, then she would be winning the Nobel Peace Prize. But instead, the U.S. has sanctioned her and they may very well drone her. It wouldn't surprise me, honestly. Let's hear this clip from the AP with UN Special Rapporteur Albanese.
I don't know, somewhat it was shocking, but the way I came to know about that is interesting, because I was in a public lecture, I was in a conference, and I understood that there was some tension, something had happened. So my first thought was about the safety of my family and my friends. So when they told me at the end of it, they imposed the sanctions on you, it's just sanctions. When the powerful silence those who defend those that have no power anymore, not other than standing and hoping not to die and not to see their children slaughtered, this is not a sign of power, it's a sign of guilt. So that's okay. It shows how weak and declining the empire is. And I will stand tall with the millions who are standing tall today to see the end of the genocide in Gaza. We must see the end, and soon. We need to reverse the tide. And in order for it to happen, we need to stand united. They cannot silence us all, they cannot kill us all, they cannot fire us all. The only way to win over is through our fear. This is not normal. There is so much of that country that must be liberated. So instead of saying free, free Palestine, we should say free, free United States of America and free, free Europe. Seriously.
Indeed. We're almost at the end here. What do we got? Okay, back to this. Her report, right? That got her sanctioned and may get her assassinated. Honestly, these are evil war criminals genociding and ethnic cleansing millions here now. Well, they haven't genocided millions yet, but they're on their way. So she was like, I was relieved it was just sanctions. Hey, I wouldn't put anything past these hardcore gangster criminals, honestly, at this point. Forever occupation, genocide, and profit. Again, we covered this report yesterday, and it's from July 3rd. But the reason I went back to this report was, remember I read the summary here from Gronk yesterday about all these corporations involved in the profiteers of the genocide, of the war profiteers, genocide profiteers, all these corporations involved in it, right? And curiously enough, they left out Palantir in this section of the summary report that I fed into the AI Gronk system. Technology and surveillance. And they named these big techs, and they did name Google here, or Google's parent company, Alphabet, but they left out Palantir, right? And I was like, wait a minute, I know, because I did skim this report, but I didn't read it word for word. But I did skim it, and I was like, I know I saw Palantir in that report. So I went back to the report, and indeed, Palantir, she names Palantir 13 times in this report. And so here it is. You could see that indeed, let me make it a little bit bigger. There. And indeed, she does name Palantir here, again, 13 times in this report. But Gronk, tied up with Thiel, Musk, Technocracy, and Palantir, Alex Karp, the whole, transhumanist technocratic crew that we all know and love, somehow their AI left Palantir off the list. So here's the report. BlackRock is the second largest institutional investor in Palantir. Vanguard is the largest institutional investor in Caterpillar and Palantir. So Vanguard owns or 9.1% of Palantir there now. Oh, but there's more. Let's go through it. Vanguard is the largest institution. We covered that. Next. Okay. Palantir Technologies Incorporated, whose tech collaboration with Aardvark Land long predates October 2023. Of course, October 7th, the worst day in the history of the world, we're told. And Dimmer said that it was AI generated. It may be. I saw that report too, that video. And looks like some of that video coming out of the worst attack in the history of the world, October 7th, is AI generated. You know what I'm saying? Continuing, there are reasonable grounds to believe Palantir has provided automatic predictive policing technology, core defense infrastructure for rapid and upscaled construction and deployment of military software, and its artificial intelligence platform, which allows real-time battlefield data integration for automated decision-making. In January of 2024, Palantir announced a new strategic partnership with Aardvark Land and held a board meeting in Tel Aviv in solidarity. In April of 2025, Palantir's CEO responded to accusations that Palantir had killed Palestinians in Gaza by saying mostly terrorists. That's true. But both incidences are indicative of executive level knowledge and purpose vis-a-vis the unlawful use of force by Aardvark Land and failure to prevent such acts or withdraw involvement. Complicit in genocide, Palantir. Continuing. There are reasonable grounds to believe Palantir has provided automatic. Oh, we covered all that. Let me go to the next one. Did we cover that? We did. Next. I guess that we covered it all. And then, of course, it's mentioned in the citations. And as I mentioned, look at this is very academic, irrefutable. That's why they're so pissed off about it, right? Look at the citations on this thing, half the freaking page. And it goes on like that, right? Look at all these citations. It just goes on and on and on with the citations. And so pretty irrefutable here now. And that's why they're all pissed off and sanctions are over it, because it's pretty irrefutable. How many? Let's go to the end of it here. Oh, this is appendix now. I wanted to count up. That's just the appendix citations. Anyway, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, as you could see, documenting all of this stuff. There you go. And so that's why they're all pissed off at her and sanctioned her, because it's proven beyond any shadow of a doubt that indeed this is what is happening there. Profiteering from the genocide by these corporations, forever occupation, genocide, and profit. Indeed. Horrific indeed. Oh man. So quite a week here. Quite a week we've had. It still just feels like the MAGA cult is not going to break with Trump. I don't know what it will take. Some have, or at least acted like they have. Even some clown influencers out there. But it still feels like it's not enough. I don't know what it will take. But maybe it's true what Trump said. He could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and his supporters will keep supporting him. Maybe that's true. In the cult of personality known as Donald J. Trump. It's just, I'm sad for those people. They need some type of cult deprogramming program, I guess, to go through here now. Let's pray for peace, man, there in Russia, Ukraine, and especially here in the genocide going on there in West Asia, Aardvark Land. it appears to only be getting worse here now. It really is, as they are going to herd all these people into the humanitarian concentration camps and execute a bunch of more people along the way, and probably execute all those people in said concentration camp and say it was for humanitarian purposes. And all of the Aardvark supporters here in our government will cheer it on and say, well, hell, they had it coming. They're all Hamas terrorists. And it's horrific. The crime of the 21st century here now. With that, let me go to the channels. Let's go to Odysee. See if anybody's in the Odysee chat. And we do have a few people over there in the Odysee chat. John, shout out to John. Thank you for tuning in on the Odysee. Gur says the EU licensed glyphosate for another 10 years. That was about 6 months ago. Wow, I didn't know that. That's not good. It is sold in 5-gallon jugs at the feed store in town. When I see someone buying it, I remind them that it's a cancer in the bucket. Well, that's all you can do, John. You know what I mean? That's all we can do is try to warn these poor souls. But thank you for your efforts out there. John says that if you have not seen the Omnivore series on Patrick Wood's Technocracy site, you really ought to, and you'll like it. I have not seen it. I will take a look at that, and maybe we'll try to play some of that. Thank you, John, for that. Again, I think it's technocracy.news, I want to say, is the site. By the way, I've interviewed Patrick Wood 2 or 3 times on Weaponized News. I interviewed him back in 2015 on AM radio. And when no one was, literally, he was the only one even talking about this stuff at that time. And us here at Weaponized News, we were talking about it. But anyway, yeah, the great work of Patrick Wood there, exposing this for many, he's been exposing the one world government agenda for what, 30, 40 years already, working alongside now passed away, bless his soul, Anthony Sutton as well there. But I will check that out, and we'll probably try to play some of it. We'll see how that sorts out here. Again, Omnivore series on Patrick Wood's Technocracy site. Thank you for pointing that out, John. Gangsters in armed vehicles, indeed. That's what they are, right? In armored vehicles, Kerr said. Indeed, let's see them for who they are and what they are. So good chat going on there. Dropping some knowledge in the chat. Appreciated there. Has anyone tracked digestive illness and compared it to glyphosate cells? I don't know. That would be a good one. Is it the GMO crops or carcinogenic herbicide? I think it's probably a combination of both. You know what I mean? But they always hit us with a lot of stuff, so you can never nail down one cause, right? Jupiter 5 jumps in. Trust the plan, dude. Of course, we're trusting, of course. We are trusting the plan here at Weaponized News, and we wouldn't have it any other way. All right. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in on the Odysee. Appreciate it. And thank you for those knowledge drops and the comments, keeping that chat lively on the Odysee. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies. If there are any ladies in the chat over there, it's hard to tell with the crazy screen names. Who knows if you're men, women, or in between. But whoever you may be, thank you for tuning in on the Odysee. The Bitchute channel. Let's see what if anybody is on the Bitchute. The Bitchute. Yeah, there's a few people watching on the Bitchute live stream. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Bitchute live stream. Appreciate it. The lively chat is on the Rumble. Thank you guys all for tuning in there and keeping this thing going and keeping the chat lively. Appreciate it. Dimmer says Patrick Wood is awesome. I agree with you. He's an old school. He is old school, man, and he's been exposing it for a long friggin' time. But yeah, like I said, interviewed him in 2000. I want to say, I'm pretty sure it was 15, maybe even 2014. Exposing technocracy, and he said this is what their dream plan is, and it looks like he was right on the money, man. Right on the money. And so that was like 10 years ago. Anyway, shout out to Patrick Wood. Shout out to the chat and the listeners over there on the Rumble. It's much appreciated. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And then what else do we got? Shout out to the X audience, the YouTube audience, the Kick, and the Facebook and the Twitch audience. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this Friday edition of Weaponized News. As always, everybody do your own research. Peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Friday evening and great